All right, what's up? We're live. Snuffing Torches Survivor 48 episode 7 recap. Shorter crew tonight, just me and Clemmer. John Rich in Chicago, mini golf. Nate's at a concert or some shit. So just the two of us tonight. Big episode, I would say. I actually liked that episode a fair amount. I wish the votes were a little more exciting. But
they did a good job adding some intrigue, I thought.
Yeah, good episode overall. We see the honestly ends up being like a Romeo and Juliet like finish for Say and Cedric, where the two of them had their guns up the entire games at each other, and they end up both dying right at the same time. Say does not make the jury. Cedric does. I thought that Say I thought would have been a great juror, like a good bitter juror. She would have had some good reactions and stuff. But Cedric somehow makes the jury. Rest in peace to two interesting characters for sure. We spent so much time with them at the start of the season because their tribe sucks so much. But yeah, saying Cedric, hasta mañana.
Yeah, am I crazy where I don't usually do this, but I was actively rooting for Cedric over Shaheen. Shaheen's a much better player. Shaheen's much smarter. I would much rather hang out with Shaheen. Like Shaheen just seems like a better all-around Survivor player. But I enjoyed the Cedric experience so much. When he knocked out of that challenge today in 20 seconds, I was laughing. It was surprising, yet predictable. It was everything. Cedric brought so much joy to my life. And I will miss him.
I really also was. And, there's times you have your favorites and you're rooting for votes to go certain ways. And it's fun. It's fun when you have that in a Survivor Tribal where you really have a vested interest. And again, like you said, I think Shaheen is actually a great player. Yeah. He's probably one of the better players on the season. Smart guy. Seems like a nice, likable guy, but he's no Cedric.
No.
Listen, I've seen a lot of nice, likable, smart, shrewd Survivor players like Shaheen. I've only seen one Cedric. I've only seen Cedric. And yeah, like you said, the challenge immediately losing. I gotta see if I wrote it down. I feel like he had another good moment tonight, but I don't really remember what it was. Oh, in the beginning when he was trying to figure out who voted for him. At the last tribal council, when he was like, it looks like a woman's handwriting, like couldn't be Say though. And then Say's like, yeah, it was me. I used a really nice handwriting to fool him. He provided us with many great moments. Two good characters for the season. I think Cedric was eons more likable than Say, but two good characters come to a close.
I think there's a non-zero chance Cedric fucks up on the finale and actually votes for the person he doesn't want to get the $1 million.
I can see that.
I mean, Cedric at this point is capable of anything. So thank God he's still on the jury. Seems like a nice man, but just, I mean, like as someone I saw in the comments, I've seen this before on Twitter too. If you're ever in an operating room and he walks in with the scrubs on, I mean, that's got to be a terror like you wouldn't believe.
Because it's not just that he. Like it'd be one thing if he was like a bad Survivor player, like socially and strategically, but he's clumsy. He's like very physically clumsy, like with his hand. Jittery. Yeah, like that is maybe if you put all 18 people out, and I didn't know what their jobs were this season, and you said who's the least likely to be a surgeon, I would have said, oh well, Cedric's certainly not a surgeon. Yeah. Good point by Matt Fisher in the chat. Shockingly bad grips trained for a surgeon.
Horrible, like the worst we've ever seen. We've seen that challenge how many times in Survivor? I mean, stunningly bad.
All right, let's go through it from the top. Like I said, we started with that post tribal where Mitch is on the outs. Kyle's kind of talking to him. I thought Mitch did a pretty good job here overall. He recognized, hey, I'm on the outs. And he starts trying to like build bonds with people. It could be a little too late. Like he's talking to Joe, Shaheen, but I thought Mitch did a good job of being like, I'm on the outs. I got to do something. It could have ended up saving him long term too tonight but people do realize he's dangerous.
Yeah. So full transparency. When Tommy and I went to the Survivor premiere, Mitch was very nice to us.
Yes.
Overwhelmingly nice to us. We didn't know. We barely knew he was even on the season. He just came over. Said
I did not know he was on the season.
Yeah, and it was just very, very, very kind. So I have a soft spot for Mitch. Plus, I like Mitch. Mitch is incredibly likable. I like what we did in the first half of this show. I didn't love the pity party in the second half. I'm hungry. Yeah. No one wants to hear that shit, man. And I get it. Like, I haven't been there, so I mean, it's easy for us to say from our living rooms. But you just don't want to be that guy whining about being hungry, because it's like, just give me one reason to vote you out. And like, you being a whiny guy is not going to help. Now, maybe he gets a little bit of a oomph now because he played it really well. He used the block a vote really well today, I thought, and he used it as kind of leverage too. It's like, hey, we can guarantee something if we go this direction. So I think Mitch is a really smart guy, super likable. I just didn't love the pity party stuff at the end.
No, I agree with that. I was thinking more just like immediately earlier in the episode when it was
absolutely like, totally agree.
Council. But yeah, I mean, I think it is probably like we say, it just must suck being that hungry, and sometimes it slips out. But
and you're tired, you haven't slept. Like like I said, easy for us to say. But in the same token, it is a show we are talking about and didn't look
bad. Yeah, bad. But I mean, it's kind of bad gameplay, but it's also like people do see him as a physical threat. So if he like starts to appear more weaker, it could lower his threat level a little bit.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
it was brought up a lot about his physical. He does well in challenge.
I don't think he was doing that, but it could be possible. And he is seen as a threat to win. Joe specifically called it out a few times tonight, where he was like, he's got a good story, he's good in challenges, he's social. Like if he gets to the end, he'll win. So I think, they kind of set the table early in the episode that the three people on the outs were Cedric and Mitch, and those were, two people went home, and Mitch was also on the hot seat. So I think that Mitch's time is not long for this game. I know we said last week, we're like, if anybody can rally a crew of misfits together, it's probably Mitch, but he's running out of misfits to rally, and I think people are too much onto him. It's a real uphill battle for him.
Yeah, he's in real trouble. I think at this point, it's, you're just waiting for the guillotine, but hopefully he lasts as long as he can. You never know. Like this game, a couple shifts here and there. You even saw in the previews, like maybe that strong guy team isn't as strong as they appear to be. So for next week, anything can happen in this game. But Tommy, you're right. As of what we know right now, Mitch is in real trouble.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I thought so. Speaking of Shaheen, I thought he did a really good job. Just a small thing, but when him and Say were talking, and it was kind of early before the challenge, and he was like, I think that Say is someone who hates fake people and hates fake niceness, and she's someone more who it's like, hey, we disagree on something, let's talk it out, let's fight it out. And he clocked that well, because he voted for it the previous tribal. He goes up to her, he's like, yeah, I voted for you. And you could see she respected it. She was like, yeah, I'm glad we could talk this out. I just think that was an example of Shaheen having a really good read on people, where Say is someone who's definitely like, I hate fake people, and like, I want to talk things out. Shaheen, I think, did a great job clocking that and bringing that up to her. I think it shows what a good read he has on the game.
Yeah. I think Shaheen's really good at telling people what they want to hear. I think Say wants to hear that she's this fighter for the truth and this is honest. Everyone wants to think they're an honest person. No one wants to think they're not an honest person. So you tell them that, it's obviously going to boost up your Q rating with them. So I think Shaheen's a smart guy, and he knows what people want to hear, and he used that to his advantage there. I think anyone can talk to Shaheen. He's a smart, savvy, and intelligent enough guy to be able to have a good conversation with anybody.
Yeah, agreed. So we go to the 2 groups of 6 for the challenge, broken up randomly. Orange is Mitch, Joe, Chrissy, Eva, Star, and Say. Purple is Kyle, Shaheen, Cedric, Camila, David, and Mary. It's the grip strength. They might as well just call it the Gabler challenge. It's the infamous Gabler challenge. Jeff called it out, where you got to hold on. It's like whatever percent of your body weight it is. And, it was the one Gabler won, set the record, where he was calling out members of the armed forces and everybody he went to elementary school with. So we have that, and one person from each 6 wins individual immunity. Then both 6 go in a tribal council, with the longer one getting ability to go second in PB&Js or something. So did I read him out? Whatever, it doesn't matter. We watched. I don't need to read out who was on what side. But it really came.
Do you think when they announced, when Jeff mentioned Gabler, did Nate get erect, or how erect did Nate get, or how much you want to think about Nate being erect?
Well, I don't want to think about Nate being erect. I mean, he hasn't watched it yet, but when he
does watch it,
Yeah, I'm sure he might go full comp.
I think so too. I mean,
yeah, he might.
No one loves Gable more than him. And how often, it doesn't happen often when a former player gets a shout out from Jeff during the show. It's fairly rare.
Yeah. I like this challenge a lot overall. I thought it was fun. Like, I thought there was a lot of talking to each other. I liked the little commercial where Kyle was like, I know it's coming. They cut that. Shaheen's doing the music with his mouth, the editing montage. David was like, honestly, one of the most impressive challenges performances I've ever seen, where he was basically just like from the start, guys, I'm going to win this. Don't bother. I don't know if I've ever seen someone not break a sweat in a challenge quite like that.
It was incredible. And he wasn't going up against people built like me and you. He was going up against other guys, and he was just like, oh, like just another day at the job. It was crazy how good he was. I love this challenge, and I think it was really brilliantly edited. Just like you said, like the stuff with the music stuff with Shaheen, but then mixed in, and then Jeff's like, the trash talk montage. We get that. We get, like you said, the commercial. Like all of it was really done, and nothing was like too heavy-handed or spent too much time on the joke. It's like we hit the joke, moved on, hit the joke. It was very savvy, and it was like I really enjoyed how that it was edited. It was one of the best edited challenges I've ever seen in almost 50 seasons of Survivor.
I agree. It was just enjoyable. It was just, you're learning more about the people. It's not like I'm imagining if Nate was here, sorry, I dropped recorder, he'd be saying like, oh, this isn't my Survivor. Like they're all too nice. Like I don't think that is like I get it. Yeah, they're not at each other's throats, but it's a human game. Like it's a human game. And that was them letting their guard down a little bit and I thought it was a great way to pass the time. Way better of a challenge than them running through a fucking obstacle course and making a puzzle.
I love this stuff on the sidelines because it got us to know more about the people involved. Like, and that's why I love like the hour and a half episodes, because that probably would have been one of the first things really trimmed down if it had to be 60 minutes. And I really like when we're seeing kind of them either on the camp hanging out or them on the sidelines hanging out. It's kind of like Sopranos. Like when you didn't watch Sopranos, right?
No, not yet. It's next on my list. It's crazy.
But so many of the best parts of Sopranos are when the guys are just hanging out in the back of Citrali's meat market, just shooting the shit. Like it has nothing to do with anything. It's just you just learn more about like them, what drives them, who they are. I like that stuff because it takes the Survivor players out of the game, and then you just see them kind of hanging out, and it makes you like them more or dislike them more.
Do you watch White Lotus?
I do not. It's up next on my list.
Yeah, great show. Mike White, the creator, former Survivor contestant. I actually saw a clip. I think I saw it actually during a commercial break of Survivor, oddly enough, tonight, where he was like, when I first saw Survivor, I loved it so much because it was like showing people, because remember, reality TV was pretty new at that point. And he was like, it showed people like in a way that it's like I could only dream of writing a character that unique, because you would see someone in one setting where they're one way, and then, a day later they're in this other setting, and it's like such deep and, evolved characters. And it's like in White Lotus, you could tell he does write the characters of White Lotus almost as if it's a reality show, not in a way where it's like over the top, but they're just very real. Like I've said, I think White Lotus is maybe the best written show I've ever seen in terms of characters, where I think he does a better job of like making his characters feel like real people than any show. Like they feel like real people. There's no inherently good or bad characters. There's like flawed characters that, some are more likable than others. But I really respect that about White Lotus. And I think once I saw that clip, it does tie it together where it's like, yeah, it makes sense, where that is kind of inspired by Survivor in a way, where it's like Survivor is just real people. And I think this challenge, like you said, was a good way to look at it.
Absolutely. Mike White, too, also on Amazing Race. He was a contestant with his dad on one season. And him and his dad were, in my opinion, like the stars of that season. Like they were so likable, so fun. But you can see just how interested in, like, even when he's talking to other contestants, he's just interested in like humanity and characters. Yeah. Like you'll see him like at the side, like just talking to people, like learning about more characters, probably so he can use them in things like White Lotus down the line, or like his shows. Because Mike White is very good. I've seen a few of his movies, like where he's very good at kind of making it feel real, because I think he has a really good touch on humanity.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things I respect most about, or like the most in like movies in Hollywood. Like this is a good point from Nick Firmstone. No scriptwriter could ever come up with Carolyn for a TV show.
No.
I mean, we say the same thing about like at Barstool, like Mincy. Like you can't write something like Mincy. Like it's too far fetched. Like sometimes the most unique, far fetched people are just real.
Absolutely. And also they'll do things that are unexpected, as opposed to living in this like Fonzie type thing where they are always cool. Like humans will do strange things. And you're right, depending on the circumstance, which makes a show like Survivor so compelling.
Yep. Look at us branching all media together. So challenge comes down to Eva versus Joe on one side. Oh, well, Cedric, as we said, out within 20 seconds at most. Jeff roasting them. Eva versus Joe on one side. Eva wins that, or sorry, Joe wins that pretty easily. And then on the other side, David versus Kyle. Seemed like Kyle's giving more for the money, but David was like, listen, I could do this all day. I think Kyle was like, I'm not going to be able
Kyle
to do
said
this.
to his hand, like I'm sure at some point you're like, what am I doing here? Like,
and David ends up beating Joe. It was like just, I guess it makes sense because it's based on your body weight, right? And David is, I'd say, I mean, from the start of the game, obviously he's heavier, but he's not like an insane, like, you know, you think of some of the biggest bodybuilders. Like Jonathan, I bet, weighed a lot more than David does. But like David's all muscles are in his arms.
yes.
Right? Like all of, like David's pretty skinny, I feel like. And it's not like his whole thing is huge. I mean, he's, again, a very big, strong guy, but like he's almost all glamour muscles, I guess is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, more so than Jonathan, who you're right, is just like enormously big everywhere. The other thing too is I imagine, I look at me, like who am I to say anything? But like I'm guessing he does a lot of work with grip and with a lot of stuff with strength for those things. Especially being a stuntman, I'm sure the times he has to hang on to buildings and shit like that. So like this is like he saw the challenge and you can see his face light up. He's like, all right, here we go.
Yeah. But someone, I think is David. I'm saying Jonathan, someone in the chat, what David or Jonathan? Jonathan's just a bigger mass of a man. Like he's bigger, his bones are bigger, he's taller, he weighs more, I'm sure.
His shoulders are bigger. Like look at
right. Like David, again, very big, very strong, but he is a guy who literally hits the gym, does a bunch of bicep curls and like tricep. Like he is in it for the glamour muscles. So it probably brings down his overall weight a little bit. But when you're doing something like that, that's body weight focused, it makes it even easier for him because he's got all the muscles he needs. Wildly impressive.
Well, I think he could have been there another hour.
I actually was wondering, like, could he have just gone forever?
I mean, unless it slipped, because that happens. We've seen that before in seasons. Like it just kind of, oh fuck, like you just kind of lose focus for a second. But other than that, I don't know how he would have lost.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like the weight equivalent it would need for me to be that easy. Like I was trying to imagine, like, how does this feel for him? Like what? That there's 10 pounds up there,
right? Yeah, just the weight of the string would be enough for me. Like, I can't.
Yeah, people are they're comparing David to Jonathan in the chat, but it is true. Jonathan did just beat a hurricane with a ladder.
I just saw someone else, Austin S, is talking about James. James is another guy too that I bet weighs a lot because he's just such a big, like he carried, his shoulders were so big, like there was so much more weight there than just the upper body.
So for the challenge, David is immune on his side, Joe is immune on his side, and David's tribe gets to go second. They get all the peanut butter and jellies. So we'll start with the tribe that had a vote first.
Before that, one of the lamest rewards. I mean, they barely spent any time because the reward was so pathetic. It was just like a can of Jif,
PB&Js.
But even it was just. I mean, that's like the laziest reward. I mean, it was just. I mean, obviously they're happy to get any food, but like it seemed like they just threw that together. Like that seemed very like, oh fuck, that's right, we got to give them something.
Yeah, probably. But I think at that, like, they probably acted like that was a 5-course steakhouse, 5-star steakhouse.
Yeah, but you give them anything. Like the fact, like that's no shit.
Yeah, but there is an element too where not every reward needs to be glamorous. I
mean, they didn't even get to go to the sanctuary where good things happen.
Yeah, that's bad. When you don't get to go to the sanctuary, that's when you know you missed out.
Yeah.
So that side, it's Mitch, Joe, Chrissy, Eva, Star, and Say. It seems pretty simple that it's going to be Say or Mitch going home off the bat. They're kind of on the outs. Like we said, Mitch was kind of doing the hunger stuff. Joe, even Star. We didn't see a lot of Star tonight. I was a little disappointed.
You know why? Because she's not at risk. Star is such a great player, such an amazing, amazing human, really, that under the radar the whole time. Big smile on her face the whole time. Couldn't be happier. Couldn't be a better teammate. Star, thank you.
She really has an unbelievable vibe. Like, her vibe is just cool.
It's great. And everyone seems to like her.
Yeah.
No one, her name wasn't even brought up. She wasn't even looked at.
Why would you vote out like the coolest hang of all time?
No, exactly.
Yeah. You're on a deserted island and you're with Star. Star
today's episode
fantastic again. Let's see what Star.
Huge win for Star today. Huge win in that episode.
Let's see.
Two people go home, and she's not even mentioned. And she's on the jury. It means we get Star for the entirety of the show. Huge win for us, the viewer.
That's very true. They said to let's check in on Star updates. Let's see. Star Toomey has made the jury, which means if she somehow gets rigged out, she will be able to vote for the winner, which is very true. We have a Star scene confessional where we learn her goals, 1 hour. Yeah, so I said we'll have plenty of Star left.
So this is probably me because I probably wasn't focused or whatever. I didn't quite understand what she was saying, where she was saying that she doesn't want to vote out, doesn't want to worry about voting on who's going to be in the jury because she's going to be the one that wins $1 million, but maybe she didn't understand the jury is the one that votes on that. It seemed confusing. But who I
didn't want to be the one to say it. I have no idea what she said in that confessional.
It made no sense.
I think I might have been I think I might have been coming back from the bathroom or something. I don't know what she's. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to bring up the confessional because I have no idea I didn't understand. And I said, you know what? It's probably on us. We probably didn't understand what Star said.
Now, yes, was I very focused? I was very focused watching it. I was locked in. I had the lights off. And once I saw Star on the TV, obviously, that I got really focused in. I still didn't quite understand it, but could have been me.
It's got to be us. That's got to be us. That's Absolutely. On us. Sorry, Star. But so they go to tribal, and Mitch uses his block a vote on on Say. Which I guess is the right move. Like, it's probably not going to come down to one vote. You probably got to decide everyone's going to stick together, but it's smart by him to avoid her using the what's it called? The stupid
the
shot in the dark.
But even more than that, the reason I think it was so well played is because he told other people he had it, he was going to use it on that. And that anytime you can take risk out of a vote like that, where it's 6 people, like, listen, if we just do this, no one's playing a shot in the dark. We all know how it happens. I think taking out that risk element was a huge move by him. So even though he didn't necessarily need to play it because it was still unanimous, I think by him playing it made it unanimous, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And it takes out the risk that he knows she's voting for him. And in case she pulls out a shot in the dark or she's got something, like, you take that because now she can't use the shot in the dark and she doesn't have a vote to risk. So Smart move by him. So Say goes home. Close the book on Say. I guess, she's an entertaining player. I didn't find her particularly likable. She talked a lot about how everyone's so obsessed with her on the island. It's like, yeah, because you're like a very look at me, center of attention person, Say. Like, that's why people are obsessed with you, quote unquote. There's rumors. I'm seeing rumors that she's going to be on season 50, which I do not like.
That would be horrible. I mean, yes, like you said, people are obsessed with Star because she's annoying. And
no, Say.
Easy to Say. Excuse me, Star. People, I'm obsessed with Star.
Yeah, that was the confusion.
Other people are obsessed with Say because she's so annoying, and it's easy to be obsessed with annoying people because they're always annoying. So, Say being on season 50 would. I get she's one of the few villains we've had this new era, and the other villain is now blackballed because he literally read off who's going to win, so he can't have Rome. Right. So I guess Say is the villain. But that's not.
Q was villainous.
She was, but like, is that why we're gonna have her in 50 though?
Q.
You said Say.
I'm saying Q was also villainous.
Oh,
in a way. But
he was likable though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but that's just something I saw. I want to mention a tribal when Chrissy. They're all talking about the honesty game, and Chrissy was like, listen, honesty, like, we eventually are going to need stuff on a resume. I like what she said, but it was stupid to say.
And needless. Why?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be said. B, you just told everyone, eventually I'm going to lie about you.
Right.
And I mean, like, what an idiotic comment that was. She's just not smart. I don't think she's a smart person. Like, I'm not trying to be shady, but like, I think she's going to be in over her head, especially now the players left are pretty good. I think we're going to find that she's in over her head pretty quick.
Yeah. But I will say it gave another side of her where, sort of the Mike White thing. Like, here I was thinking, like, oh, she's this, like, old lady. She's just there along for the ride. She's not going to cause much of a stir. And then she's like, no, we're going to start lying and backstabbing. It did make me think, like, oh, there is a little bit something more to her, maybe, than I thought. Like, maybe she could be a good player at some point.
I totally agree with your first point where you're right. Unexpected, interesting. Didn't expect that coming from her. It just told me she's a very bad player.
Yeah, that's fair as well. Other side, we had Kyle, Shaheen, Cedric, Camila, David, and Mary. First, it seems obvious that they're all going to just get rid of Cedric because he's on the outs and, he's Cedric. But then Kyle is kind of like, Shaheen, he voted for me at the last camp. He went through my bag. I'm always kind of looking over my shoulder with Shaheen. So him and Camila, who people still don't know is a duo, we're like, all right, we got to come up with a plan of, like, if we want to vote him, we need David to do it. So they plant this idea in David's head that Shaheen may have found an idol at their last camp. And I actually thought Shaheen was going home.
I kind of did too. I want to go back to the Camila Kyle thing. So why are people still surprised they are a team? Because people were at the well when they discovered they both have family from the same country and they both like the same movies or whatever. Like, I'm kind of surprised that anyone is not aware that those two are friends. That kind of surprised me a little bit.
I think people might realize they're, like, friendly, but they don't realize they're working so closely together.
I get, okay, that's understandable. Plus, you got to figure people are so focused on their own game that
right.
Sometimes you can look past what's right in front of you. I get all that.
Because if you can't break down every other two-person relationship, that's, dozens of ones to break down in your head.
Correct. I do wonder, though, once this group gets smaller and smaller, will people be able to kind of suss that out a little bit?
Yeah, probably. I think so. And I thought this was kind of smart. Like, I thought it was brilliant when Kyle and Camila were like, all right, well, we have to come up with a reason to lie to David and be like, this is why we actually need to get rid of Shaheen. I think what they went with is probably wasn't severe enough to really convince David, but it's also safe enough where it's like, you don't want to go up to David and be like, Shaheen said he wants to vote you out. And then David can go confront Shaheen about it. And then they look like liars. So it was a good level. But now that they didn't vote Shaheen out, I am like, if I'm Kyle and Camila, I'm worried that, David might say something to Shaheen at some point about, like, hey, I think, I heard you might have that idol. And he'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Kyle and Camila are lying. So that is something to factor in if you're Kyle and Camila, unless, though, it's done a good job of painting a target on Shaheen for the future, or now it's in people's head that, hey, maybe Shaheen has an idol.
Yeah, and I think the way, like you said, the level of lying was so minimal, where let's say they are confronted it, be like, well, that's what we heard. Because they literally say, hey, we heard he has an idol. Not I saw he has an idol. It was just like, hey,
no, but they said that he stayed back at their last camp with the well.
Oh, they're afraid that, they're afraid he might have an idol because he stayed back. Right, which is I don't know, I feel like that's a pretty good lie. Yeah. I don't think if that gets blown up, it's not going to, like, necessarily put them in, like, hot water.
Agreed. You could talk your way out of it. I personally, I would have voted out Shaheen. I mean, I understand it more from David's perspective, I guess, where you want the meat shields. Like, he's been clear where he wants to have 5 people that are all strong because he wants a strong player to win. And there is strategic validity to that, where, if Shaheen goes home and then Kyle goes home, or like a Joe goes home, all of a sudden David is, he's a lion. He's getting surrounded by hyenas. Everything all right over there?
Yeah, my dog just jumped on the couch, made a weird grunt noise, and rolled in her back, which she doesn't usually do, but I think she's just getting comfortable. It's very funny.
Okay. So I get it more from David, but if I'm Kyle and Camila, I want Shaheen out soon, and I don't know if you'll have a better, like, when you have something like this where you have the double tribal and you only have 6 people, it makes a vote easier. Because, you have tribals of 11, 12 people.
Yeah.
Chaotic. It's a lot of people to wrangle. I think these are good opportunities to get out a threat where it's like, oh, we got them cornered. They can't weasel their way out. I do not understand getting rid of Cedric, who was no threat to anyone whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the same thing about Say, too. Like, with both of these votes, you could say the smart play is probably voting somebody different. But we're not there. And it's easy, I think, for us to, like, say from our seats, oh, just bring the goat along, bring these goats until the end. It's like, yeah, but you can't trust what Say's going to do. You kind of can't trust what Cedric's going to do long term. You don't want to align with them because you don't really like them, or maybe just not trustworthy. There's like 10,000 reasons why you can't align with them. So sometimes it's just get easier to get rid of kind of the filler. But
yeah,
I think analytically you're right.
I think there are two different cases. Say, I think, did make sense because she was like a wild card, but she did have a strategic mind where it's like she's not someone maybe you could trust and she could do something about it. Cedric wasn't someone you could trust, where like he is kind of like a flake and his mind's all over the place, but he's not someone you really had to worry about coming up with a plan to get you out.
No, but I'm worried that
sometimes the easy vote. Him. What?
I'm worried someone else will manipulate him.
Yeah, and that's fair. And like, it's sort of the Sandra, as long as it ain't me. Like you're thinking like, hey, like, and especially I feel like in modern Survivor, it almost makes sense to just blend in as long as possible. Make a few moves towards the end of the game, final 7, final 6, build your jury pad then. But yeah, if you're out on that island, it's probably much easier to be like, oh, everyone's to vote out Cedric. This is going to be fine. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like. I try to put myself in their shoes. Like, I'm not gonna put my neck on the line for Cedric or Say just to get a goat for the future, and plus goat that I really don't know if I can trust. So yeah, I think I would have. I think I would have liked to think, oh yeah, vote out Shaheen, but I probably would have gone along to get along.
Probably as well. And also, you're the one that brings it up, and you have this. Then there's a target on your back going forward. Right. So, you have anything else from the episode we didn't cover? I'll check through my notes.
Not really. I will say, like, on paper, I don't love the double elimination episodes. I feel like it's kind of a cheat. Obviously, they do it because in case someone gets medevaced out, yada yada yada.
26 days.
Right. But I actually kind of enjoyed this one. That was pretty entertaining. I end up really liking the episode. So I guess I really can't bitch about it. Like I think this is one of the better Survivor episodes of the new era. I'm not gonna say it's the greatest one ever, but like it's a strong B+ new era grade for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I'd say it was one of the better episodes of the new era, but it's on the top half of the list for sure.
That's what I said, a B+. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you could say it's not right, not like top 5, but like top 3rd for me. Like, it's a strong B+ for me. I really entertained the whole time.
And like we said, I think the challenge was edited great. I do. They get the Devil Tribal. I'm fine with it in a sense of like I understand it from a logistics perspective of they need to move the game along and all that. I hate it from a fairness perspective where it's like as a player I would hate it where it's like I could have just had a great thing at the merge and all of a sudden I end up just by dumb luck, I end up with a bad group and I always hate when Survivor takes skill out of the game. And I know luck is a part of Survivor, and they said it tonight. I think Camila or someone was saying it. So I get that. But I don't know. Part of me always hates the luck aspect. But I understand. And it was well done tonight.
Surprised more people don't play their idols in this situation. Because you figure, all right, I got a 1 in 11 shot, whatever. Or I got a 1 in 6 shot I going home. Or 1 in 5 shot in this case, where somebody else already has immunity.
Right.
Plus, I don't have a true grasp of what's going on because now we've been cut in half like that. But people usually don't use them there. So maybe I'm just thinking about it too much. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe just get a read on it and
yeah.
Jib cuts. I'm gonna give my jib cut to the editors. We said it. I think the jib cut did great job by them.
Yeah, that's not a bad one at all. I'm obviously gonna give my jib cut to Star. I didn't quite understand.
I was doing non-star division.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Well, obviously we got, Star gets an honorary spot. I didn't really understand everything she said, but I enjoyed having her there. She was smiling, laughing, and also was never once considered to be voted off. My other jib cut, I guess, I might repeat the one from last week, was Eva once again not playing the idol. Smart, like did really well in the challenge. Like it wasn't a huge Eva episode, but every time she was on there, I thought she was doing something right. I don't think she's going to win this game, but. Or maybe I should also give
David jib cut as well for just being like, I'm going to win this.
Can Eva win this game?
It probably not, just because if she gets the end, she wins.
Yeah. It's funny though, there's a lot of people who have like decent,
stories, yeah.
Like Mitch has the speech impediment and like seems like a great guy. Like
David has this girlfriend thing.
That's right. Yeah, David was in a trailer. So there's a lot of people who have like certain obstacles, hurdles in life that you could use as potential weight in Final 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will come into play or not.
0.0s. I hate to do it to our guy, but if I had to add somebody new that we haven't mentioned as a 0-0 yet, I would probably make it Mitch, because I think that he's just on the outs. And as we said earlier, like he's running out of options. Like he could have maybe rallied together a ragtag crew to attack that powerful fivesome, but he's running out of people to corral. He's on the outs. I think, the no food, as we saw, is catching up to him, and people know he's a threat. Joe mentioned it a bunch tonight. Was like, we got to get Mitch out of here. I think he can win. I think Mitch is in for a real tough ride.
I would add, and this has nothing to do with the previews. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt, but I'm adding David. And just the way he won that challenge, where it's so easy for him, that now I think the target on his back, especially once you get rid of the Cedrics and the Says and kind of the fringe players, and you start looking around, it's like, I don't want to deal with this guy in challenge. Like, that was the first challenge, immunity challenge, obviously he's won on his own. If he goes on a string of these, you can't let him keep doing that.
Yeah, no. And I think Kyle even is great in all these challenges. I think he's almost putting a big target on his back.
I think having David there is huge for him.
Yeah,
as long as David's there, then I think he might be okay.
Too.
Joe too.
Yeah.
And Joe's another guy, if he makes it to the end, he's such a likable guy, such a nice person. Like, you kind of can't let him get to the final three.
Yeah. I think we've kind of said that it's Kyle, Camila, Shaheen, or Mary. Is that the four we said are the most likely four to win?
I think that's fair. We wouldn't put Eva in there? I don't think so, right?
No.
I don't think she's strategic enough.
Even Joe, I think they're just people. Eva, Joe, Mitch, people don't want to take to the end. Chrissy will never win. That's four.
And we're obviously excluding, this is the non-star division.
Yeah, Star might, like, there's a chance she won't win, which is crazy to say. And then David, I also think is, like you said, going to be tough to win. I think one of the winners, if I'm doing a tier one, I would say with 99% chance that it's either Shaheen, Kyle, Camila, or Mary.
I wouldn't put that like, my tiers are much tighter than yours, but yeah, it's probably tier one.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else?
That's all I got. No, a good episode tonight.
Yeah, thought it was a good episode. We will probably not have a new Snuffing Torches episode next week. I will definitely not be there. You said you won't, right?
I conflict.
Yeah, so maybe I'll teach Nate and John Rich to do it. I'm not allowed to say why I won't be there yet, but it is a very valid excuse. Maybe you will know by the time. You might know by like Monday or Tuesday. I might be able to say. Otherwise, you won't know for a long time, but it's worth it. So stay tuned for that. So no new episode from us next week. Probably be back the week after. Subscribe, like, all that bullshit. All right. See you guys in 2 weeks for another Survivor.